Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Packer Universe podcast, a.k.a. the Pup List. This is the first takeaway with Tay and Ren. We are here after the game. The game being the San Francisco 49ers came into town, Lambeau, and lost to the Green Bay Packers, our Green Bay Packers. Oh, yeah, 38-10. Well, it didn't seem like that. It was going to be a rout all the time, Ren, and we'll get to that in a minute. But, you know, the Packers played a 49ers team that really was a shell of its former self, especially in contrast to the one we saw in the divisional playoff game last year. But the Packers did today what we kind of needed them to do, and they got over some hurdles that they haven't been able to get over lately. Red zone scoring, some interceptions, good run defense, good turnover ratio, time of possession. I mean, Josh Jacobs, again, for the second game in a row. I mean, he's had a ton of them, too. Awesome. Phenomenal game. 3 touchdowns. He gets the hat trick. He goes over 100 yards. He did leave with cramps, but he came back, so he's all good. Just, in the end, an all-around good win for the Packers mentally. And yes, what they put down, on the field today was good. There was a couple things here and there. You're like, come on, are you kidding me? But generally speaking, they handled a 49ers team that they needed to handle, and they entirely could handle, and they did. So, pat them on the back. Good job, Packers. We move on. This is a short week. We go, Thanksgiving night. So we don't come out with too many injuries, but Romeo Doubs probably has a concussion. He lands on his back, hits his head. He's out. We don't know the extent of that. That's a tough turnaround if he's in concussion protocol to come back on Thursday, which really sucks because you see the struggles now with Watson again here. I think this is what we're going to get with Watson. Is he can come out and just nail some big plays and help you out to win. And then sometimes you're like, really? Are you kidding me? Through the hands? Boom. So I don't know, Ren. We come out of this game. I'm pleasantly surprised. They did some things that they needed to do to prove that they have, the oomph to win in this long stretch here at the end of the season. How are you feeling after this win, Ren? The Niners come to town and we finally beat them.
Tay, I feel the way I should feel. The Packers dominated a team that was less than them. That's what you're supposed to do. I mean, I tweeted right before the game kicked. No excuses today. I mean, literally, Tay, you're talking about 3 of their top 5 players in what's been an extremely deep roster for some years. We're talking about, obviously, the Super Bowl loser last year. They've been the Super Bowl a number of times in the last 4 or 5 seasons. Listen, they didn't have their starting quarterback, arguably a top 3 edge rusher in the NFL, top 2 maybe. I mean, maybe TJ Watt's the only better one. And then for how many years has Trent Williams been just the dominant all-pro left tackle year in, year out? And you're missing all 3 of those guys. You've got Kittle, sure, and Devo's out there, but obviously Ayuk's been on IR for some amount of weeks. Listen to you have to take advantage of those matchups. You're at home, and there's no excuses. As again, I tweeted, you got to go out. You got to dominate a team like that. And sure enough, they get out nice. The Niners defer. They get out, have a nice long sustained drive. A lot of Josh Jacobs, which results in a Josh Jacobs touchdown. And they get their feet under them. They get up with a 51-yard longest field goal of the season under McManus, up to 10-0. Then they get that really cool, just little throw and just rumble by Tucker Kraft for his touchdown today, and they're up 17-0, and you're feeling pretty good. But the question with this team always becomes, are we going to let them back in? Are we feeling good about it? They're the boogeyman. I can't say I was today. It's still the second. It's still the second quarter. We know the Niners are going to get the ball to start the second half, and what do? They go an 11-play, 65-yard drive. Kittle ends up with his 8th touchdown reception of the season. 8, Tay. Leads all tight ends in the NFL. You're going, I don't know. Here we are again, 17-7. And the Niners are going to get the ball to open the half. Well, guess what? The Niners get the ball to open the half, but the second half is where the D starts coming up big plays. I've obviously Professor X getting a ball that shouldn't be thrown. That leads to a touchdown. Lucas Van Neste. Who's that?
Who?
I don't know.
Number 90 coming out of the woodwork.
Pick, strip sack.
Yeah.
Kenny Clark pounces on it. And then later on, we get a Keyshawn Nixon punch out. I mean, 3 turnovers in the second half. That thing ices it. Really, that's what it came down to. But, I like what you said up front, and that is, listen, much better in the red zone. They've got to get better at that, and they certainly were today. The Niners are one of the, they're in the bottom quarter of the league in the red zone defense. So, hey, they are, and you took advantage of it. So good on you. That's what you're supposed to do. We talk about penalties. The Niners are penalized somewhat, not heavily today, but pretty consistently, where the Packers were not. So time of possession, red zone, penalties, you hit it on the head, right there. And then turnover battle today. I mean, they kicked their ass in the second half. That's what you want to do to a team that's down and out. You buried them, and they should have. And that was the expectation. And will this potentially send the Niners spiraling? They got to head out. They got to go all the way home from Wisconsin, then head all the way out to Buffalo, New York next week to play the Bills.
Yeah.
I'm thinking those guys are on life support because it might be over for the Niners in 2024.
Yeah, you're right. All those things kind of add up. And, we needed to take advantage of all that today that was put in front of us, and we did. We came out of the gate fast again, like you said. First possession, touchdown. Love it. I love it. It sets the tempo. We don't always keep that tempo, from time to time, but today, in the end, it took all the way to the fourth quarter before you're like, okay, the Packers have this, and that was with a lot of help from the defense with those turnovers, and finally getting some pressure. Kudos to Quay Walker. He did play a good game. Thank you, Quay, for showing up today.
First half drop.
Okay,
it was in his hands.
It was.
It was like a gimme. Like, here's a gift.
Yeah. But he's the linebacker. He would have been playing offense if he could catch the ball. But seriously, what was it? Samuel had 2 of those right through his hands, and he's a wide receiver. So, I guess maybe it's more difficult than we think. But that one was a gimme. There was like 3 or 4 Packers around Quay going, no, like this with their hands on their heads going, oh my God, dude, you missed that one. But other than that, Ren, he did play a good game. If you rise to the challenge and the scrutiny, you deserve a little credit, accolades. So good job, Quay. I'm not convinced. I've always been kind of down on him this year, and so is everyone else. But let's string together a few of those games like today, and then maybe, okay, we're moving in the right direction. But again, he had his bounce back game. But the Packers, I think, second, third quarter, they were keeping this Niners team close enough to be hanging around still. And I think that was your point. You're like, this is classic. Could this be classic Packers where they keep them in the game just enough for a couple mistakes to go to go against us, to go their way, and all of a sudden you got a tie ball game or they're up. But they held fast and they won, and that's what we expected. So you're right, and we needed to be. I mean, holy crap! I mean, we're 8-3 and we're 3rd in the division. I mean, that's insane. Again,
how about that? How about
Minnesota
that Viking
wins.
game today? I mean, geez, the Vikings skate out of another one.
Yeah,
I mean, they're going toe to toe with the Bears in Chicago.
OT.
The Vikings look like the worst 9-2 football team I've ever seen. Which harkens back to a Vikings team a couple of years ago that was, had a huge win-loss percentage and went in the playoffs and got bounced, I think, by the New York Giants. So, that if you're fortunate enough to be the playoff team who sees the Vikings this year, good on you, because that's probably going to be an easy out.
I mean, they're 9-2. They don't feel like it. They don't seem like it. But we needed this win. I mean, we really did. You'd have been sitting at 7-4. I mean, that's just not good enough. To beat and to even be close to that wild card. You got to keep in contention with that. That's nuts. And you're on a short week. You're at home for today's game and Thursday game. I love it. So the schedule to me looking forward is optimal for the Packers. I mean, they're getting these weird Thursday night and evening games, Sunday night, Monday night games that are aligning pretty good for the Packers. So with the weird schedule coming up.
Do you remember the weirder part of the schedule today? We got the Dolphins here at Lambeau Thursday night at 7:20, but then they play the following Thursday in Detroit.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of weird, like short week, and then it's a regular week, and then you get the mini bye. I mean, and then I think you go out to Seattle off the mini bye, and then you come back with an extended week on a Monday night against the Saints. It's all
and
sorts.
Then you have the Bears after.
Man.
And then you got high noon at Minnesota, and then the Bears game. But I don't know. For me, I think this looks good for the Packers. I mean, you put a really solid win today together, and you poise yourself against the Dolphins, who we'll talk about in a minute, quick. But it's a game that can be handled pretty well if you just be consistent and you can execute like you did today, and rally and build on what you all of your successes that you had today with the confidence. It's possible. I love the position the Packers are in. It's laid out for them a little run here that they could make into something. And it started with today. So the win against the Niners here was huge. Yes, it was a team that wasn't the classic Niners that we're used to. It's always a little bit of a challenge. There was some times where I was like, Shanahan, okay, that was a good play. The Packers weren't ready for that. They didn't see that coming. Good job. There were only like maybe 2 or 3 of those. Otherwise, it was pretty well handled by the Packers. But I'm glad to see this game turn out the way it is. It needed to be for this team to be poised to finish out the rest of the season like we want, and that's to go for a run here and get that wild card spot at least. If not, get into the playoffs with a better record than the Vikings.
Yeah, I mean, step one today, Tay, and that is, again, beat a team down and out. They're not the Niners you expect. Again, they're so banged up, and you can't really judge it other than generally, if this is how the Niners had to play week in, week out without those guys available, this is probably a 2-8 football team that's walked into your stadium. And that's what you have to do to a 2-8 football team. And they have not done that to some 2-8 football teams. They've let them hang around that really shouldn't be in their class at all. And in this case, they did dominate the second half and win decisively, and that's what you're supposed to do, especially at home. So now, we've got the Dolphins coming into town. Anecdote, I just forgot. I wanted to point out, first end around today. Guess what, Tay? Down by the goal line, first drive, penalty. Back it up. Second one, looks like this gorgeous thing for 4 yards. Stop doing it. Stop doing it. It's garbage.
You're right. Oh,
it's trash.
I got one other anecdote to say to you too. It's more of a question. So since when have you thought about or worried about the kicker lately? I mean, having McManus in here has just been amazing. Having a competent, kicker that can actually do the job. I mean, brilliant.
First 51-yarder for the Packers this season today, 50+ yarder. I don't worry about it. I mean, again,
I know
McManus, he's the higher gun. It's fine. I trust him, which is good. The operation's good. Gotta like it. I know you got your wish with some number 2 time late. So there's the other anecdote. Malik came in. You wanted a few Malik plays, Tay, and ultimately you got a little Malik Willis for you. So hopefully that filled your desire for Malik for a few weeks, and you can stop talking about it because nobody wants to hear that shit. But how about the Miami Dolphins coming into town? What do you think? A couple quick thoughts on the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving night in Green Bay. Going to be a chilly one, Tay. I don't know if you've looked at the weather recently, but Thanksgiving Day is about when it starts to change, and we're going to get cold here. Real cold. It's like December. Damn. Because we're going into days in the teens for highs and lows. Not looking pretty.
Yeah, there's a front coming through right now in Wisconsin, in the Midwest, and it's going to thoroughly drop temperatures and thrust us directly into winter, and that's what's going to happen on Thursday night. I'm fine with that. I bring it on. Bring a warm weather team up here for a night game in the winter. Awesome. But we're not going to have a lot of time to fit in a regular episode before Thursday, so we're just going to kind of double up a little bit here on the first takeaway and talk about the Miami Dolphins coming to town this Thursday night.
Ever so slightly.
I mean, the Miami Dolphins are coming off their own route, Ren. We just routed the 49ers. They came off their own route. New England, they beat them 34-15. I mean, they dominated. I mean, their headlines are like, what did go wrong for the Dolphins? Nothing. They came off a great win. So
4 touchdown passes in that game. So
yeah, this is their third win in a row. So they're doing well. I mean, this team is 5-6 right now.
Yeah, they were dead to rights just a couple weeks ago. Tay 2-6, and Mike McDaniels is like, nope, don't do it. Organization, don't trade my guys. Calais Campbell, 37. They call him the MVP of the defense. They didn't want to get scraps for him when they know how important he is in the locker room and how good he's been on the field. This team is scrapping, Tay, and they see a window, especially in the AFC, based on the back end of the AFC, opening up for them. Their playoff chances went way up at 5-6. So listen, this game in Green Bay, sure, non-conference is huge. This team is like literally now back in the mix, playing for the playoff lives. And with two on the field, it seems like they're super competitive. Without them there, Tyreek really can't do much. Waddle can't do much. Obviously got that Devon A-Chain, there in the backfield. They have complementary tight ends, reasonable defense, a lot of pieces left in the off season, but you're going to get their full swing. Even though they're flying up, it's going to be cold on a short week for them as well. Mike McDaniels is a good coach. Obviously, out of that, Shanahan, McVay, LaFleur tree, he's gonna give them their best shot. Tay, it's going to be a tough go. Thursday night, you're going to get their full swing. So I expect a very competitive football game Thursday night.
I agree, and they have to show up and play like they want this one. They can't look past it at all. This is huge. This is in the spotlight. Not that matters much to the Packers. They can play like trash, in a primetime game, just as good as they can, or bad as they can in regular games at noon or whatever. But yeah, they need to play well and piggyback off of this win today with the Niners and and take care of business with the Dolphins. They have to, and they have to show us as fans that they can do that and put together a 1-2 punch and then, kind of ride it out on their momentum for the rest of the season. I know I keep talking about the rest of the season, but it looks good to me. But yes, the Dolphins are coming to town, and that's first step, and they can do it. I believe that they can. I just hope that they do too, and they're not looking past that. But yeah, it's a very important game. Yeah, it's a non-conference game, and I think looking at the Dolphins' schedule, they could lose this one and still be all right. They have a bunch of their own conference games coming up, especially in their own division. But for this one, the Packers need to, again, step up, prove what they can do, show us as fans, and keep the ball rolling. I mean, seriously. So I don't know what to think about this Dolphins team in terms of like what their like potential is for scoring. I know, obviously the Packers put up a 30-burger today, and that's certainly within their realm of possibility. But I see them probably putting up 24 points. Dolphins, I think, put 21 up. I think we beat the Dolphins by 3 points. Today the footing in the Lambeau Field was okay. There was some slippage, like the first kickoff, the kickoff by the Niners guy, he fell down right away. So I was like, oh, is this going to be one of those games? But it wasn't too bad. But Dolphins come to town, and they're going to have to, learn to put on the right cleats. So hopefully, we have a home field advantage with that, and the Packers can take care of business. 24-21 Packers.
Honestly, I really do think this kind of cold game at night, the footing, it will be a little slick there. It seems like there won't be any precip in Green Bay, at least here a few days out.
Right.
But I think it just, this team, these guys, they know that. They play out in the elements all the time. Miami is not generally in cold weather places very often. I really think that does make a difference. I think the Dolphins have won in Green Bay once in history, and that was in the last 20 years. It's just not likely they'll be able to adjust, even with everything on the line. I want to say Green Bay wins 28-20 to Thanksgiving night.
Very, very, very good. Well, that's when we'll be back. We'll be back next with our first takeaway after the Dolphins game, win or lose. Maybe I'll be comatose with the turkey, but we'll be here, and so stay tuned for that. We appreciate everyone watching, everyone following us, everyone supporting us. We do love it indeed. So yeah, Ren, I guess take us out.
Yeah, Tay, until we revive ourselves from some tryptophan comas, we'll see you on the next first takeaway, Tay. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there in Packer Universe on the Pup List.